All right, yo, 4th of July, Independence Day. Do, 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 do. Okay, that's my version of a record scratching and falling off the soundtrack. Okay, you probably got that. Anyway, yeah, 4th of July, 2020, Independence Day. Okay, so, I looked up, I'm starting today. This is a channel that talks about the search for eternal life, but I also, every day, this is a little bit of a journaling channel and a news channel for me, okay? So what I wanted to talk today about, what I kind of have started to look into a little was, and I mean, everyone's kind of looked into this a little bit, but there's the phenomenon of cancel culture, okay? That everybody knows about, and it's basically saying that if you say the wrong thing, you get canceled. Okay, like, I mean, what cancellation could mean many things, but it usually means destroying your livelihood. Now, in the future, 20 years from now, I wanna look back at the title of this and see what I was thinking at this time when I was describing cancel culture. It's very close to my birthday, so 20 years from now, I'm gonna be up there in years, but I wanna see what the manifestation. I wanna look back and be like, wow, today was way worse than it is. Yesterday was that in 2020 it was way worse than it is in 2040. Okay, that's what I want to look back and see, and I really hope that's the case. But I feel like I should talk about this now. Like, I think I haven't been following everybody who's gotten canceled. I mean, the biggest people have gotten, quote, canceled throughout the years, but like it's mostly done by corporations who are letting rid of somebody letting go of somebody to get rid of a negative image about the brand, and essentially keep people shopping at the brand, because people in general are motivated en masse by the cancel culture, or by justice, a sense of justice being done, right? And the idea behind cancel culture as a term was because it's really specific to the social media platforms, right? Okay, so a desire to cancel out a person or community from social media platforms. It is characterized by the response of an evil individual, evil, quote unquote, when they are shown to be wrong. They will call on their followers to report the social media accounts of the person or group that did the criticizing, rather than discussing the criticism or showing evidence of where the criticism is incorrect. Okay, so this is an Urban Dictionary link. And I call out culture, cancel culture. People love doing this. And this is really in the 2010s. Like, I really think that, like, I mean, there are times when people should be, quote, deplatformed or whatever. But in the 2010s, I think people got so used to doing this. Like, I think it started with this woman on in an airplane, where she had texted something that was supposed to be sarcastic, and I guess it was just in poor taste. And I mean, I wonder if I could find it. First person to be canceled. What's her name? I mean, I'm sure this will come up now. I don't know. How to change or cancel an American. Okay, wow, that's interesting. I think they meant this is an American Express card, but or American Airlines flight. But I really like how to cancel. I wish I could just zoom into this now. How to cancel an American from the points guy. Okay, this is really so ironically the theme of today. I mean, really, like, what we're doing is, like, again, I'm jumping around, but cancel culture started in 2013, 2014 as a main tour de force, where people started getting, their jobs and lives destroyed because they tweeted something inappropriate, right? This obviously didn't happen to everybody, and this only could really started, like, this is essentially a cyberbully situation in many cases, where, somebody who's done something in poor taste, made an accident, the masses, get schadenfreude from destroying this person's life, right? And then they can justify it with these vague justifications that, oh, my life was ruined anyway, I had a poor situation going on, I'm just getting back, I'm getting revenge. And sure, getting revenge is a great thing, right? But I mean, when you're just doing it, like a lot of people are doing it out of quote justice because the justice system doesn't work fast. And sure, it doesn't work fast in many cases. It just, it lags, and it seems that a lot of people who deserve to see their day in court, right, don't see their day in court. Well, now the cancel culture of today, right, and cancel culture back then was a social, band-aid to that, like because it essentially elevated the platform of the people, populism, wanting to see this thing done. And populism has been the name of the game for the last 4 or 5 years, right? I mean, everything has been done by referendum of the people. Brexit was done by referendum of the people, which is canceling Britain's involvement in the European Union. Canceling individuals is being done by referendum, really snowballed after Harvey Weinstein and Me Too. After that, like everybody for saying anything, like this past 2 weeks, tons of YouTubers have been canceled for things that they've said in the past. You know what? Honestly, you can get as offended as you want, right? About but you don't, like no one, you don't have, I don't care what kind of victim you think you are, right? Like most people, there are many victims out there, right? And we have to keep qualifying this. There are many victims out there. But many people who feel that they're victims don't have the right to destroy somebody and should not have the power to destroy somebody based on a victimhood that isn't theirs to claim. Okay, like when you're canceling a random person for your perceived lack of social inequality, you can say, oh, this person is contributing with their platform to my social inequality, right? But the line has to be, if you're going to literally take their life away, you have to take them to court and do this by the legal process, and you have to prove it, no matter how slow it is. I'm tired of fucking millennials and other people saying that this is too slow, this process is too slow. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's the right process. Okay, you need to actually give somebody, due process. Okay, and especially if if their crimes are shades of gray, if their crimes can only be attributed to them fully as crimes against humanity, for instance, if you take into account all the infrastructure that lies beneath them to support their, minuscule contribution. And again, I'm not minimizing cancellation, right? I think cancellation is like, I'm not minimizing a crime, right? I'm minimizing, what I'm saying is that we should eliminate this ability to be judged during the execution or with the push of a button. Like how ADD have we gotten? I wonder, I'm sure Black Mirror has made a few things about this. In fact, I think they made an episode about this with mechanical bees, where some hacker who wanted to cancel somebody got mechanical bees that were distributed across the world to go kill that person. That was canceled via the Black Mirror version of Twitter. It was an interesting episode. Made me think a lot. I mean, it wasn't a stretch of the intellectual, mind. Like it wasn't like, it didn't increase my brain wrinklage, but I mean, it did keep me thinking about this kind of stuff, right? Anyway, so that's it with cancel culture. But how to cancel an American, right? Like you have all these statues getting knocked down. I'm not going to comment too much on the statues, right? Because this is a tough topic, I think, because on the conservative side, you have people who see, like here was a statue of Richmond's mayor. I don't know. Well, that looks like some kind of vaporwave art. Statues come down, storms roll in, protests continue. Of course, they'll continue. Mixed reactions in the city's Confederate statues are torn down. See, here's the thing, like a slave owner, okay, you have statues all over the place. Like you can, and this thing of this idea of the Kafka trap, right? I'm jumping around again. Okay, now here's the thing. You can say things, right? You might say things, and let's talk about this for reasoning. A reasoning to argue a claim. A fallacy is reasoning that is evaluated as logical incorrect and that undermines the logical validity of the argument and permits its recognition as unsound. Regardless of their soundness, all registers and manners of speech can demonstrate fallacies. I mean, there are fallacies. And people, the thing is, if you've never taken a Philosophy 101 class, and it seems like at least everybody should, who has the capacity to, mental capacity to take a Philosophy 101 class, okay? Philosophy 101 talks about logical fallacies that people make constantly in their arguments. For example, appeal to authority. I make this all the time, right? So I mean, when people are cornered in a situation, like a lot of the times that they'll do an appeal to authority, right? Well, essentially this appeal to authority is like the thing that gives the ability for people to say they were right and that you should be canceled. Okay, like this is a disgusting use of people's like social power, and social media really given people the ability to appeal to authority and become authority and cancel arbitrarily. This is actually a ton of disgusting situations. And the Kafka trap, right? I jumped into the Kafka trap because the Kafka trap is like, you can come out as like divine fallacy, another one interested, arguing that because something, I'm going to go make a video on this at some point, something is so incredible or basing and must be the result of superior divine, alien, or paranormal agency, right? Like, you know what? I mean, actually things in the Constitution are done that all the time, right? I mean, people's right to free speech, okay? I agree with this, but it's usually framed by the framers as something that's a divine right, okay? And then it's considered a logical fallacy, right? People on the conservative side would definitely agree that this is not, this is not a fallacy. This is just given to us, okay? Right? Well, maybe depending on your religion, yeah, it could be the case. But generally speaking, okay, we should go over all these fallacies, actually. I'm going to go over all these. I really like thinking about fallacies in people's speech, okay, because they just abound, including my own. I'm not excluding myself from this capacity to shortcut actual logic with appealing to emotion, and cognitive bias. I do this all the time. But appeal to probability, that's an interesting one. A statement that takes something for granted because it would probably be the case, or it might be the case. Okay. It's a formal fallacy, appeal to probability. Argument from fallacy. Assumptions, known as the fallacy. So that's the exhibit fallacy, for those of you who remember that mean. Assumption of an argument for some conclusion is fallacious and the conclusion is false. Assumption that if an argument for some conclusion is fallacious, the conclusion is false. Okay, so that one I think people make all the time, right? For example, let's see, what's a good one? You shouldn't drink. Drinking alcohol will destroy your liver, and destroying your liver is. I don't know. I can't think of a good one, but I feel that there's tons that can be made. If I was looking in the news, I'm going to keep thinking of argument from fallacy and come back with a few things on this and a few examples. I actually might term this segment the fallacy hour. Okay, cancel culture and the fallacy hour. That's how I want to go through. Mass man fallacy. The substitution of identical designators in a true statement can lead to a false one. Identical designators in a true statement. I don't know. I'm not sure about this one. But anyway, let's go over the first thing. A Kafka, I think, redirected from Kafka trap. So basically, in the reasoning to argue a claim, fallacy is reasoning that its validity is logically incorrect to undermine the logical validity of the argument, permits recognition as unsound. Regardless of their soundness, all registers and manners of speech can demonstrate fallacies. Because of their variety of structure and application, fallacies are challenging to classify. Fallacies can be classified strictly by either their structure, formal fallacies, or content, informal fallacies. The classification of informal fallacies may be subdivided into categories as linguistic, relevance through omission, relevance through induction. Anyway, let me just go back to my thoughts, okay? I'm not going to just keep reading this. Okay, so there's a bunch of statues that are coming down. These statues are of people, historical figures that have been canceled. I can be honest, and I understand people's desire to get rid of. I can understand the desire to get rid of these statues in many cases, especially. Again, these things are not being judged on the magnitude of their of their crimes, for instance. I mean, yes, like, it depends on how you submit the crime, right? Like, or you submit something as a crime. For example, if many people are being canceled because they were slave owners, for instance, and yeah, that was a huge deal back in the day. The arguments for that was that it was not understood as a crime by some of the people who moved this country forward past that back in the day, or they evolved, right? But they still must be taken down because of their historical. And like, who the fuck are these people? Like, honestly, you can judge anyone in history for their imperfections. You can amend history books and add to history books. You should actually amend and add to history books, I think. But you shouldn't completely change history books in a way that you debase any contribution the person might have made. Because remember, the only reason that you have the ability to speak in the way that you do was because of the chain of events that caused that some of these people initiated to cause your freedom to do so. Many people forget that. And really, I think the problem in this country, don't want to sound like an old codger, but the problem in this country, which young people will never understand, is it's them, their lack of knowledge, their lack of context, historical context. And I think societally and structurally, there needs to be progressivism for sure, but there needs to be a counterbalance to prevent the darker and more stupid parts of progressivism, like cancel culture, from destroying your foundation of existence. Okay, it's just not gonna do. I'm down for like taking down statues of like genocidal people. All right, I'm down for taking down statues of people that have like, but like let's also keep things in context, and let's keep things relevant and real. Okay, like you're gonna destroy the world because you got mad. That's literally what the society of cancel culture is advocating right now, is supporting. I got mad, so I'm gonna destroy you. I mean, no day in court. I got mad one day. And you know what? I really think, when they say cancel culture, I'm all about that. But anyway, I went on this long tangent about cancel culture. And I have my own. Let's see what Mark Wahlberg has to say about cancel culture. I'm just curious. 2 weeks ago, Boogie Nights' star approach could work for others, but here's a kid. Mark Wahlberg is a bit of a jackass, so I mean, he's had his cancelable moments in the past, okay, and he's actually committed real crime at some point, which I don't know the total deal. It was just a few. This is also Hollywood in Hollywood in Toto. So many sites. Okay, but I get this. I get the sense that this is a conservative site. The right take on entertainment, sure. See, the right take, but you can tell because look at the titles on the right. But anyway, it was just a few days ago when actor Mark Wahlberg looked like the next celebrity to get canceled. The Transformers stars made the mistake of trying to heal the nation after a police incident left an unarmed cooperative black man dead. The murder of George Floyd is heartbreaking. We must all work to fix this problem together. I'm praying for all of us. God bless. It's hard to imagine a more positive, harmless message. Think again that generic virtue signaling caused a kerfuffle. Social media followers recoiled at his kind words, dredging up the star's ugly past in the process. In 1986, a then 15-year-old Wahlberg and his three friends were charged with chasing three black children and pelting them with rocks while yelling such an ambulance driver intervened. The next day, Wahlberg harassed another group at the beach, gathering to racially abuse, throwing rocks at them. A seemingly unrelated second incident occurred 2 years later in '88 when Wahlberg attacked two Vietnamese men while high on the drug PCP. The Independent reached out to Wahlberg's representative for comment after regurgitating his past. It's likely other news sites did the same, covering some angry social media rants like the major news story. Melania Williams wrote about this. Mark Wahlberg looks like a hypocrite tweeting in support of Mark Wahlberg's support of Black Lives Matter, but given his multiple anti-Asian hate crimes and pardon attempt, has anyone heard about the instances we've seen follow stories? No, and no. More importantly, Team Wahlberg went into radio silent. He didn't apologize, even address the issue, and he like his character in The Fighter. Wahlberg kept his head down and waited for the blows to sail over him, and they did. The woke mob is now obsessed with the t-shirt worn by college football coach and other inanities, and it's certainly possible Wahlberg's past will be weaponized against him again. What else didn't happen? Wahlberg's legion of co-stars didn't share stories or any misbehavior on or off Movie sets. Actor just appeared in Spencer Confidential, a Netflix original. Is Chris Park a new franchise? And for what it's worth, the actor previously addressed his actions and fully apologized for the young man he once was. One remains self-conscious about his past and told me during the recent press conference picture that he's trying to make up for it through charitable work with the Boys and Girls Clubs and through his own life example. Considering where I came from and coming up in an area like this is not an easy thing to do, but that's what I want to focus on. Much giving back to making sure a great opportunity for kids growing up in Dorchester, Roxbury, inner city average youth, telling them that they can accomplish what is set to do through hard work, dedication, they can do the same. So basically, Wahlberg kind of ignored it, right? Is that what it is? Anyway, wow, this is an interesting site, I guess. I'm gonna look into. I mean, you know what? I'm not right wing per se, but like, yeah. Anyway, so that's it for now. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this, and yeah, I'm gonna post this. So, yeah. Well, that's it for now. See you later.